that'll make me go this crazy all night spinning my door. Slow it down, baby, take a look. Blow my whistle, baby, let me know.
Today we're discussing a rapper with some of the biggest singles out there. We all know his accolades, but not everyone knows the hustle and heartbreak that got him to the top. Between 2007 to 2015, the man earned about 13 platinum singles. Today we're discussing the rise of rapper Flo Rida. What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video. Flo Rida was born around 1979 in Miami. He was one of 8 children, 7 of which were girls, and the youngest of whom was his twin sister. Heavily influenced by his family, Flo Rida was raised by a single mother and was encouraged to use music to express himself by his father, a successful musician, as well as his sisters, several of whom sang in a local gospel group. Around the time when he was in grade 9, he formed a rap group with his friend named Groundhogs, and they began to land gigs opening for local artists.
Now, tell me about the moment that you realized that making music was your passion in life. Was there one defining moment that it clicked for you and you said, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life?
Well, I remember one time I was in a group early on called the Groundhogs, and we did this talent show. And I had one of my sisters sing in the talent show, and I think it was like what was the reward? I think it was probably like $3,000 reward.
Wow.
Yeah, and we actually won.
Yay.
And I was like, oh my God, this is something I want to do for the rest of my life.
I get to get paid for this? Awesome.
Around the same time, he began spending more time with his brother-in-law, who was serving as a hype man for Luke Skywalker of 2 Live Crew, and who was impressed by Flo Rida's rapping ability. Unlike many successful rappers of that era, Flo Rida was actually an incredibly good student. He actually went to college, but the idea of working a 9 to 5 was not for him.
You come from such an interesting background. You really do. I mean, you went to college.
Yeah, I went to college for a little bit, but I felt like, hey, it took up a lot of time as far as me wanting to do my music and everything. I went to UNLV for a little bit. I went to Barry University for a little bit down in Miami.
He had always dreamed of being a superstar, but he knew that only a handful truly made it. And so he moved to LA to live with one of his sisters. He was there for a month, maybe 2, and then he decided to dedicate himself to music in its entirety. However, it came at a very heartbreaking cost. I stayed out in Las Vegas about 2 years, and during that time, I had a sister down in Miami. She was dealing with bronchitis. I recall her telling me, "Come home, I want to see you." And I didn't let nothing come between me and my music. I mean, absolutely nothing. One day, my boy called me up and was like, "Man, your sister passed away." And when that happened, it really took me to a whole other level. Like, her name was Julia, and I was very close to her. And I told myself that I was going to do this for my sister. Flo Rida then got into music even more. And because he was following in his brother-in-law's footsteps, he became the hype man for 2 Live Crew's Fresh Kid Ice. They needed a hype man to go to Hawaii with them. So from that point on, I would hype the crowd up for them off and on. Just before leaving, he was encouraged by his groupmates to record a solo demo. He then returned home to Miami after his stint with Kid Ice, and Flo Rida's group The Groundhogs landed a spot as a feature on Kid's album Freaky Chinese around 2004.
Hard work pays off, and it shows that when I approach anything, first and foremost music, that, I really love it. So, I mean, for the fans to cling on to it and to really enjoy it to the point where they, help me sell so many records, it just shows, hard work. When I'm in the studio, sometimes I'll be in there for 3 days, the same clothes, no sleep. So, I mean, I all owe that to, just hard work.
But very soon after his arrival, he was back on the Greyhound bus on his own heading back to LA. He had received a call from Devante of Jodeci. Devante had listened to Flo Rida's demo and could see Flo Rida's talent, introducing him to label A&Rs and influencers in hip-hop. But ultimately, our boy is having a really hard time finding his feet. He was shut down by major labels like Capitol and Death Row. He also lived in random places, working random jobs, and even returned back to university for a 2-month stint before hitting the streets once again. 3 years after leaving the East Coast, Flo Rida's luck began to turn. He was receiving calls from E-Class, an old childhood friend he met through one of his sisters. E-Class just so happened to have Flo Rida's demo and was creating his own buzz in the industry. Flo Rida then returned to Miami around 2006, and about 4 months later he signed a deal with Poor Boy and Atlantic. Flo Rida's journey was on the rise. His feature debut was on the single "I'm From Dade County" on DJ Khaled's 2007 album We Are The Best.
Get on them pills. Dade County Poor Boy. Best believe I rock that dip. Chops come up, get
Alongside major figures like Trick Daddy, Trina, Rick Ross, and Dre, amongst others. He began working on his debut album almost immediately. Now around 2007, Flo Rida dropped his first and probably his most well-known single, a little-known gem known as Low.
Cash ain't a problem, I know where we go. She had them.
The single, which featured T-Pain, served as both his debut and leading single from his album. It topped charts all over the world. It was the longest running #1 single of 2008 and was the most downloaded single of the 2000s. Oh, and did I forget? The single went diamond.
When I first heard Low on the radio, definitely a dream come true. You know, got tons of phone calls. I mean, it never stopped for quite a while. You know, but you know, shout out to DJ Khaled, who was the first one to play the record, you know, on the radio. You know, it was just one of those things where I felt like, you know, here it is. It's about to be a non-stop party around the world. Definitely, I recall just being in the studio, and immediately when I heard the 808s, T-Pain just giving his melodic style to the record, you know, it initially just got me up off my feet. I'm not even a dancer.
After this moment, Flo Rida was on fire and went on to drop more singles. 2008 spawned the single Elevator,
Hey, my first love stop, gonna go digging woman. Money, cash, flow, all big face money.
as well as another one called In the Air.
Hey, this my jam. Y'all don't understand. I'ma make you understand what's pumping in my CD player.
Both of these singles were highly successful. In this time period, Flo Rida had a lot of hype surrounding his name, and thus he dropped his debut album, Mail on Sunday, which peaked at #4 on the Billboard 200, but did not even go gold. Throughout the rest of the year, he did more features with artists like Michelle Williams, DJ Khaled, Lady Gaga, and even a remix for Madonna. High off of his success and determined to cement it, Flo Rida quickly began working on his next project.
A lot of people say it's not real hip-hop. How do you respond to stuff like that?
I'm always, you know, going against the grain and, you know, definitely, you know, just trying to create my own lane. You know, never, you know, forgetting, you know, the roots of where, you know, it all started.
It was called Roots, and the album's debut single called Right Round introduced the world to future superstar Kesha.
Call up my homies, it's on and popping the night, cause it's meant to be ours. We keep a fadeaway shot, cause we ballin'.
This song was incredibly successful and eventually went 7 times platinum. This was followed by the not quite as successful Shown with Pleasure P and Sugar with Winter Gordon. Flo Rida's sophomore album called Roots came out around 2009, and once again the sales were lackluster. The album also spawned other singles such as Jump, Be On You, and Available. Now by 2010, Flo Rida had returned back to the drawing board. He came out with another album called Only One Flow Part 1, and let's just say, this was one of Flo Rida's biggest flops. The album only had about 8 tracks on it, and was preceded by the single Club Can't Handle Me with David Guetta.
Like money, so the girls just mail. One too many, y'all know me like 12. Look like cash and they all just there.
The album debuted at number 107 on the Billboard 200 and sold about 11,000 copies in the first week. Now, perhaps realizing that it was time for a change, Flo Rida started his own record company and signed 18-year-old Brianna and Get Fresh. Unfortunately, despite his best efforts, Brianna only released one mixtape through the label titled The Graduation. She also dropped one single called Boom Shaka before soon departing the label. Since then, the label has been fairly active with a solid revolving door of artists. Now, Flo Rida's fourth and final album came out around 2012. It was first called Only One Rider Part 2, but was later renamed to Wild Ones. Despite the disappointing title, the album put Flo Rida on the map once again. The album had several big singles, including Whistle, Wild Ones, and Good Feeling.
Sometimes I get a good feeling. Yeah.
Also around 2012, our squeaky clean rapper got into his first recorded scuffle. On April 1st, April Fool's Day, Flo Rida appeared in WWE's WrestleMania event with Heath Slater, Kurt Hawkins, and Tyler Rex. Flo Rida and Heath continued to have a long-standing beef which lasted years. Now, since their beef was on WWE, everybody knew it was fake and not that many people took it seriously. This reminds me of the time Snoop Dogg joined the WWE and attacked Chavo Guerrero. Everybody knew it was fake because there was no way Snoop Dogg, the skinny man that he is, could take on a professionally trained wrestler. No way. Everyone knew it was fake, so when Flo Rida appeared in the WWE, the public knew what time it was, but Flo Rida seemed to be having fun, and he was probably getting paid for it, so it worked out well for him. Having developed a bit of a taste for beefing and throwing shade, Flo Rida quickly jumped back on that horse around 2013 when he started beefing with popular producer deadmau5, notable for his huge mouse-eared cap that became a part of his signature look. Once Flo Rida endorsed a product called Beams, a laser-activated DJ machine, deadmau5 thought that this technology would be detrimental to his career and took to Twitter to air out his grievances. Well, so much for my career. The future's here. Shit, save me an opening slot at least. Around the same time of this tweet, deadmau5 appeared in a video where he destroyed the Beams device in his parking garage. Not taking this sitting down, Flo Rida made a 30-second commercial in which a character facing away from the camera can be seen using the Beams while wearing an oversized mouse head. The caption read, "Beams, so easy even a mouse could play it." The pair then went back and forth on Twitter, and deadmau5 implied that he would take legal action, but nothing came of it, and eventually the beef faded away. Now this is kind of where Flo Rida faded off. He lost his desire to push out more albums and put all of his efforts into dropping singles, a lot of which were successful. Around 2014, he dropped the 4x platinum single GDFR. Around 2015, he dropped the single I Don't Like It, I Love It with Robin Thicke, as well as the ever classic 6x platinum My House, all of which appeared on his latest EP to date, 2015's My House.
Welcome to my house. Play the music too loud.
Around 2016, he dropped his last charting single, Hello Friday, with Jason Derulo. And around 2017, Flo Rida became a father for the very first time. Unfortunately, the child was born disabled, and before the kid's birth, Flo Rida denied that it was his. Flo Rida was eventually taken to court by his baby mama for not paying child support and was granted about $5,000 a month. Throughout the next few years, Flo Rida continued to drop singles, including 2017's Cake, 2018's Sweet Sensation, 2019's Snack, and 2020's Take a Shot and Make a TikTok, just to name a few. Now deciding to use the pandemic to his advantage, Flo Rida decided to revamp his label, which was still going. He signed a new female artist named Oya Baby, and has added other artists to the roster, including INTL Nephew and Baby Soldier, the latter of which is currently incarcerated. Around July of 2021, he was given the key to the city from the mayor of Miami, and the following month he was listed as the 7th highest-selling rapper of all time with over 102 million units sold.
Is there ever pressure from the streets to make a trap record, you know?
I mean, after about 7 years, no pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I love traveling all around the world, so I try to make sure I take care of the audience that, you know, I've been able to be blessed with, you know?
Now, Flo Rida is still active in the music industry. He's still currently dropping singles. His most recent ones include 2022's No Bad Days,
Pinky ring on a Bible. I'm a product of survival, yeah.
and another one called High Heel.
My life is like parties over sleep. Monkey in the middle of.
Flo Rida gets about 23.5 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and his most listened to songs are Low, Whistle, Wild Ones, Good Feeling, and Club Can't Handle Me.
Rapper Flo Rida was handed down a major victory in court yesterday.
He was awarded more than $82 million in a legal battle against the makers of Celsius energy drink over an endorsement deal gone wrong. The rapper, known for songs including Right Round and Whistle, spoke after the verdict was announced. He says he has gained a, quote, new respect for the judicial system.
This was a long journey, but we prevailed.
That's it for me, it's your boy Ali. What happened to Flo Rida in your opinion? Let me know down below. Video requests? Be sure to let me know down below as well. New What Happened 2 video dropping soon. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.